Christmas is traditionally a time of joy, celebration, and family togetherness. However, behind the twinkling lights and festive carols, there are dark stories that many prefer to ignore. This is the narrative of 3 chilling tales that occurred during Christmas, accounts that are said to be true and serve as a reminder that the unknown does not choose dates to manifest. Story 1. The Christmas Eve Visitor. It was a cold Christmas Eve night in 2007 when the Miller family gathered to exchange presents and share stories. The house was adorned with sparkling lights, and the aroma of freshly baked cookies filled the air. Everything seemed perfect until a knock at the door interrupted the festivities. Expecting it to be a neighbor, Mr. Miller opened the door, but no one was there. Confused, he looked around, only to find footprints in the snow leading into the woods beside the house. Suspicious, he returned inside, but tension had already begun to grow. Moments later, as the family was unwrapping gifts, another knock echoed, this time louder. Mr. Miller checked again, but it was the same result. Then his youngest son, Timmy, pointed to the window. "Dad, someone is there." Outside, a tall, hooded figure stood motionless, staring into the house. Before anyone could react, all the lights went out. When they finally managed to get the lights back on, the figure had vanished. The next morning, the Millers discovered scratch marks on the front door and a handwritten note that read, "You were spared this year." Story 2. The Sound of the Phantom Sleigh. In a remote Alaskan village, an old legend spoke of a phantom sleigh that roamed during Christmas night. The sound of jingling bells in the darkness was considered an ominous sign. In 1998, a young man named Jacob experienced it in the worst way possible. On Christmas night, while tending to his family's farm, Jacob heard bells in the distance. Thinking it was a neighbor passing by with reindeer-drawn sleighs, he went outside to greet them. But what he saw left him frozen in fear. A black sleigh, pulled by skeletal creatures, glided across the field, illuminated by an otherworldly glow. Instead of a cheerful Santa, the sleigh carried a gaunt man with pale skin, glowing eyes, and a smile that seemed inhuman. He stared directly at Jacob and raised a hand, as if inviting him to come closer. Jacob ran inside and locked every door. Yet, the sound of bells lingered, circling the house until dawn. The next morning, he found burnt tracks on the ground where the sleigh had passed, but no one believed his story. However, from that Christmas onward, other villagers began reporting the same phenomenon. Story 3. The Gift That Was Never Delivered. In 2013, a young woman named Amanda worked as a gift courier in a small town. On Christmas Eve, she received an unusual request to deliver a package to an abandoned house at the end of a rural road. Despite her hesitation, she decided to complete the delivery. When she arrived, the house looked deserted, except for a single light glowing in the upstairs window. Amanda left the package on the porch and knocked on the door, but no one answered. As she turned to leave, she heard the sound of the door opening. Turning back quickly, she saw an elderly man, dressed in faded clothes, standing in the doorway. He smiled oddly and said, "Thank you for bringing my gift." Before Amanda could respond, he took the package and shut the door. Puzzled, Amanda returned to the depot. The next day, she mentioned the incident to her supervisor, who turned pale. He explained that the house had been empty for years and that the last resident had died on Christmas Eve 5 years earlier. When they checked the delivery log, they discovered the package had never been scanned as received. These chilling Christmas tales remind us that while the holiday season is magical, it can also harbor mysteries and unexplainable horrors. So, as we celebrate, it's always wise to remember, we never truly know what may be watching us in the darkness of a Christmas night.